This is still a severe weather event that could cause significant harm to Kentuckians if we are not careful.
The forecast has changed a bit, but there is still a state of emergency in places across Kentucky. Now freezing rain, sleet, snow too, starting to come down, making it dangerous for drivers in some areas. And thanks for joining us on this very busy day. I'm Shannon Kogan. We're going to check in right now with Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harnett. He's been studying this data now for almost a week. So tell us what has changed here.
Yeah, well, you may have noticed today, Shannon, we had the cold rain. We sat right at 32 degrees for a good chunk of the morning and right into the early afternoon. Our temperature needs to be just below that to see the freezing rain. So we spent a little more time in the cold rain and already thickening the column of air. We're starting to see some sleet. The good news is, and the change in the forecast is a little bit less freezing rain. I'm going to show you our maps in just a second. Our whole team has been assembled all night, all day, and we'll be here throughout the day tomorrow. You can see the freezing rain accumulating on some of the trees over in Corydon. This is the part that gets heavy. It can weigh the trees down. We can tolerate a little bit, but it starts to get heavy after a while. The ice storm warning is still in place. That continues until 7 a.m. tomorrow morning. Here's the radar. Let's just dive into it and I'll show you. This pink is the freezing rain for the most part. We start to see more sleet in the purple. Really, it's a mix kind of back and forth between the two. The radar can't tell with definite a surety that that's exactly what it is, but you get a general sense of what's happening. We have some freezing rain, but in some cases there's more sleet. Certainly the case now across parts of southern Indiana, and then you get farther to the north, and this is snow, heavy snow in places. Seymour seeing a decent snow over toward North Vernon, Butlerville, Madison, Scottsburg. The colder air making its push south, moving very slow. Areas to our south are still in rain. Starting to see some of that freezing rain from E-Town, Bardstown, so along the parkways, right up into Jefferson County. That is the zone that we had pegged for the highest ice totals. In fact, when you look at the ice forecast, notice the little heat island we've got going on in Louisville. So we'll see between that 1/4 to 1/2 inch total for some places. But for the most part, let me walk you through the ice totals. It's up to 1/10 of an inch where we see the heavier snow. Jackson, Jennings County. Between 1/10 and 1/4 inch in this lighter pink shading. So in that second level up, that's Paoli, Salem, Jeff, much of us here in Louisville in that color. And then we see between 1/4 to 1/2 inch in the darker pink shading. Again, most places will stay below 1/2 inch of freezing rain or ice. We see sleet and snow accumulations close to that 1 to 2 inch range Louisville. Higher totals as you work your way to the north. Seymour in that band of 4 to 6 inches. Bottom line on all of this, while we may not stress the power grids as much, travel's still going to be slick and hazardous later on tonight and for a good chunk of Friday with temperatures holding below freezing. Shannon will talk more about this coming up in just a bit.
All right, so great update there from Kevin, and we have crews spread out the area. Mark Stevens, we're going to be checking in with him, and he's in E-Town in just a little bit. But first, let's go to Kennedy Hayes. She's in the metro area, so you've been driving around. How are the roads so far, Kennedy?
Yes, as we've been out here, it's been getting colder and colder. Ice is starting to build up on our trucks, so it's getting colder by the minute. But before the freeze, last minute, hardware stores are preparing for what's to come tonight. I went to Oscar's off South Shelby Street to find out exactly how people are preparing.
Right now, while it's still raining, if you need to get supplies, go ahead and get it. Don't wait until the last minute. And if you can, just stay home. I mean, nothing wrong with just staying home. It's probably safer to be home and be with your family than trying to, get to work. I understand everybody has to work, but sometimes you gotta weigh the odds, If it's better to stay home where it's safe, do so. It's not worth your life,
I also talked to management at Oscar's, and they told me the supply and demand is through the roof right now. They're running out of ice melts, scrapers, and propane. So if you call in, you likely won't have any luck getting those items. So the bottom line is, if it's not essential, stay home. And if you're like us and you have to be out, it's best to prepare for the worst. That way you're covered for anything. Live in Louisville, Kennedy Hayes, Wave News.
All right, Kennedy, thanks. I didn't have many problems in the metro area on the roads about an hour ago. But again, the temperature above that freezing mark. Mark Stevens right now is in Elizabethtown. Let's see how things are going there, Mark.
Shannon, the temperature here in Elizabethtown has dropped really significantly, but still rain here so far. It's been rain here all day. I'll have you take a look at the roads. They are incredibly wet, but fortunately not frozen over. Now, emergency officials have been making preparations in case it really iced up and causes big power outages. Hardin County says they've got 10 warming shelters ready to go if needed. This one at the Pritchard Community Center has a mobile generator ready to hook up, as well as medical and Red Cross supplies. And road crews have been placed all day, although we only just in the last half hour saw several line of trucks leave from where we are in Elizabethtown and get onto the interstate. Now, the driver shortage that Hardin County experienced in that last storm has been resolved. They got all their crews back after a big medical timeout because of COVID. Leslie Ashlock with Hardin County says they want people to hunker down at home, though, before this ice hits.
Ice is so much different than snow. Neither are very safe and good fun to travel on, but please stay home if you can.
Now, we also talked to the local electrical cooperative. They said they're thankful that so far the ice has not been coming down. They said with the ice, that'll weigh down tree branches as well as power lines, and that would start cutting off the power. But again, the good news so far, as soggy as it is here in Elizabethtown, it is not frozen over. So we continue to watch this rain making roads wet and not sheets of ice. Live in Elizabethtown, Mark Stevens, Wave News.
Good there. We're going to be talking with David Mattingly, who is in Seymour, coming up in a little bit. Now, Louisville Mayor Greg Fisher gave an update on how the city's preparing to deal with the roads during this winter storm.
In anticipation of worsening conditions, we've moved our Metro Emergency Operations Center status to Level 2, which means the center where we're at right now is staffed with public safety and operations personnel who are monitoring the conditions and ready to respond with our various resources.
LG&E also gave some tips in case the power goes out. This is what they're suggesting. Keep a cooler handy if you have any medications that need to be refrigerated. Also, check to make sure you have your flashlight in a place you can find it, a battery-operated radio, plus extra batteries, too. Set aside food that does not need to be refrigerated, and also set aside water. Anyone with a portable generator should use it in a well-ventilated area or keep it outside. And if you are on the roads and a power line falls on your car while you are in it, do not get out. Instead, call for help. If power outages do happen, there are easy ways to report them. You can download the LG&E and KU mobile app and submit a claim right there. Those apps are free. They can also be reported through an online account by phone or just by texting outage to 4LGE-KU. A lot still to come on Wave News at 3. How you can keep your food safe even if you lose the power to your refrigerator.
The ice storm warning continues across the area. We will continue to see ice build up in places, snow in others. How much will you see in your backyard? That's the big question. I'm going to do my best to answer that when we come back with our coverage of the ice storm of 2022 right here on Wave News.
Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Good taste, happy face, your place, my place. What's gonna make you happy? It's the smile I see on your face. It's that good, yes it is, and we deliver it. Oh, 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 taste is fun, yes it is, we guarantee it. Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
This newscast is sponsored by Morgan & Morgan. There's only one. This is Wave News at 3.
Well, this map right behind me is the Metro Snow Map. It's really great. You can access this right from your phone, from your home, and it shows you how the roads are being treated. Most of these are red. That means in progress. The challenge for the Metro road crews was that it's been raining. It rained all day yesterday, raining a good portion of today, so they can't really treat them. Right now, let's go to our storm tracker. Jessica Dobson is in that, driving all around town. So have you run across any crews out there trying to prepare the roads?
Yeah, you know, Shannon, so far we have just made it down South Preston Street, and we actually just came up on an intersection where the stoplight was out. So that's something you want to keep in mind if you are traveling. Hopefully you're not. We haven't seen too many folks out on the roadways just yet, but we have certainly seen it across the Wave News parking lot, a bit of an icy glaze across the parking lot there, and especially in sort of untreated surfaces. What we're doing right now is actually hopping on Interstate 65. We're going up the ramp right now. So far, so good. No major issues, but of course we've only been on the road a couple of minutes. But we're going to hop on 65 and head southbound, probably head to where we've seen a lot of reports of ice so far. So near the Waterson, near Shively, that kind of area, maybe near PRP. So if you have reports, be sure to send them our way. We want to get a good idea of what we're expecting. And, you know, we're even seeing a little bit of ice accretion, you know, on the side of the road there near the median. But it looks like people are driving slow so far, and we'll, of course, keep you up to date on the latest roads all afternoon long, and we'll let you know if there are any changes or any incidents we run into. Live in the Storm Tracker, Jessica Dobson, Wave News.
All right, Jessica, thanks. And it looks like not a lot of cars out there. And a reminder, as I was driving in, someone was trying to tell me to go faster. Don't do that, right? So ice, the huge concern with this, and the weight of the ice can cause power lines to go down, and that can cause your power to go out. So what does that mean for all of the food in your refrigerator? So one way you can make sure food is still good, keep an appliance thermometer in your refrigerator and also your freezer. Make sure you've got frozen water, gel packs, also a cooler that you can put your food in. So your fridge should be at 40 degrees or below. Your freezer should be at least 0 or below. If the power does go out, try to keep your refrigerator and your freezer doors closed as much as possible. This will keep food cold for 4 hours in the refrigerator and 48 hours in a full freezer. If you have a half-full freezer, that's 24 hours. After your power comes back on, you should not taste the food to say, hey, is this still good to eat? If it's after that 4 hours, throw it out. And also, remember that saying, when in doubt, just throw it out. Kentucky not alone, facing some bad weather. We have a lot of company with this one. As many as 22 other states also experiencing winter weather. More on that when we come back.
Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Good taste, happy face, your place, my place. What's gonna make you happy? It's the smile I see on your face. It's that good, yes it is, and we deliver it. Oh, 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 taste is fun, yes it is, we guarantee it. Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
We have company with this winter storm, a lot of company. More than 24 states spanning 2,200 miles getting slammed with rain, snow, and ice as the temperature drops, plunging some areas into single digits. Chris Wynn is in Cincinnati with the latest.
From the Rockies to New England and nearly everywhere in between, a massive winter storm dumping snow, ice, and sleet on over 100 million Americans in at least 25 states.
Along this frontal boundary, we have essentially every single weather element you can think of.
Snow began falling in some areas Tuesday, piling up in Colorado, Indiana, and Illinois. Plows struggling to keep up.
When you're getting snow at an inch an hour, 3/4 of an inch an hour, it's just coming down so fast that we just ask people to be patient with us.
Roads covered in snow and ice across the Midwest, crashes and overturned vehicles shutting down highways.
You just got to stay cautious. It's pretty bad, obviously.
Air and train travel also grinding to a halt throughout the impacted states. More than 3,700 U.S. flights were canceled early Thursday morning at dozens of major airports. Almost a year after a deep freeze crushed the power grid in Texas, residents hoping to fare better this time as the temperatures plunge and ice accumulates once again.
After last year, I think us all Texans are kind of scared.
As many find themselves still digging out from last week's storm, the new round of monster winter weather causing a new round of monster headaches.
Stay safe and give us time.
In Cincinnati, Ohio, I'm Chris Wynn.
Well, it doesn't make it any better for us that so many people are also dealing with the same thing, right? A live look outside right now, and you see that rain on the lens. Meteorologist Kevin Harnett is joining us right now. But the good news is we're not going to get as much accumulation of ice, right?
Yeah, it looks a little less than what it did yesterday. And I'm going to explain why in a second. You can still see we're seeing that coating of ice. This is the freezing rain. This is over in Corydon. Southern Indiana may very well in some places near the river take the brunt of the ice, and areas just south. Again, not enough to even weight down those tree limbs, but you can see that it is sort of encasing those limbs. That's what freezing rain does. That's the reason for the ice storm warning. We have freezing rain to sleep, then a brief period of snow still in the forecast. Scattered power outages are still possible. They're not going to be widespread. We'll see slick roads continue to develop across the area, and accumulations of snow will continue to be higher to our north. Again, when we look at those maps, you'll see what we're talking about. The radar already shows that transition. Rain, freezing rain, sleet, snow. Let's take a closer view. Here in Louisville, we've got a mix of freezing rain and sleet. Areas to our north, well, starting to see snow from Seymour down to Millport, Paoli, Scottsburg, Butlerville, even Madison with a little snow mixing in with the sleet. We have freezing rain and a cold rain in counties to our south. That, again, we'll start to see that transition, but it's taking some time. And that perhaps has been the biggest challenge in the forecast, always is the timing of the cold air and the depth of the cold air. The ice storm warning remains in effect until 7 a.m. tomorrow. When we look at the hour-by-hour forecast, you're going to see the precipitation chance stays fairly high into the late evening hours. Again, seeing sleet eventually to snow, and then tapering that off to just flurries by morning. Temperatures are below freezing through that entire time. We're going into the 20s overnight. It's a good time to have the Wave Weather app. A lot of you are on it right now, thousands in fact. We can see you how many folks are checking what parts of the app, and that's why we spend a lot of time updating it. We like to give you what you're looking for, so feel free to jump on and check it out. Road conditions deteriorating now, will continue to do so, especially once the sun sets. By 8 o'clock, roads will be icy, snow is falling. Same story Friday morning. By Friday afternoon, main roads will be better, but still, the untreated roads will be slick. Temperatures stay below freezing all day on Friday. Let's talk about the timeline. Well, between now and moving on into the evening hours here, we're going to see this mixture of sleet and freezing rain. After that 6 to 9 o'clock time frame, snow and slick roads expected. The snow will end late tonight with just a few scattered power outages. Not looking for a big deal in terms of power outages or sort of crippling the infrastructure. We note we had the cold rain to our south. The freezing rain is a tough thing to forecast because it's all about a very shallow layer of cold air. We took a long time to really cool down below 32 degrees. Once that happened, we still have some freezing rain, but the cold air sort of thickened enough to give us sleet. That's good. Oftentimes, sleet will bust a freezing rain forecast. Not saying we've busted the forecast yet, because we're still going to pick up, well, in some cases, between 2/10 and 3/10 of an inch of ice. Snow will be following shortly behind. That'll be a brief coating of snow. Got, again, the ice and snow maps coming up. When we notice the travel impacts, you're going to see what we're talking about. Outside to Corydon we go. The freezing rain and sleet continue there. Temperatures are still right at 32 in Louisville, 32 in Jeff. Colder. You really need to be below 30 to really see that ice accumulate. That's not even below freezing to our south. So a cold rain as you look farther to the south. Again, looking at the metro, we have the mix of freezing rain and sleet ongoing. That will continue for a few more hours until the snow pushes closer to the river. Areas to our south with a cold rain. Wide view shows the stretch of this storm all the way to the northeast. Tornado warnings down across parts of Alabama. So what we're looking for overnight tonight will continue to be the freezing rain, putting anywhere between 1/10 to 1/4 of an inch along the river, including us in Louisville. Some areas could see between 1/4 to 1/2 inch in that darker purple. Snow accumulations higher to the north, mixed with some sleet. Overnight, the temperatures fall. We're going to see that low temperature drop into the 20s tonight, 22. Not going to rebound above freezing tomorrow. And in fact, look at tomorrow night. 5 above. Some areas could be below 0. Wind chills will be below 0. The coldest of the season so far. And then a nice stretch of 40s coming our way with quieter weather for much of next week, Shannon.
Won't that be nice,
yes.
Right? Yeah, I think we all deserve it. Still to come, what the drug company Merck plans to do with all that money they made from their COVID antiviral pill. And what the FCC is proposing to do to keep phone scammers from bothering you.
It's that good Fairnose pizza. Good taste, happy face, your place, my place. What's gonna make you happy? It's the smile I see on your face. It's that good, yes it is, and we deliver it. Oh, 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 taste is fun, yes it is, we guarantee it. Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
Grove is committed to being 100% plastic-free by 2025. Grove Co.'s natural, cruelty-free cleaners do more than help solve the plastic crisis. They're also twice as effective as other natural cleaning brands. Grove Co. products are refillable, recyclable, and infinitely clean. So we can move beyond plastic together. Get a free starter set plus free shipping at grove.com.
Taking a look at the Dow right now, it's down nearly 400 points right now at 35,231. Let's see how the local stocks are doing, too, on this Thursday. First Savings, Humana, Yum Brands up, but UPS and Ford down today. Wendy's is unveiling its first new breakfast item in 2 years, plus the Omicron variant continues to hurt the job market. Here's Jane King with your business update.
Weekly jobless claims are starting to normalize after the Omicron variant disrupted business in December and January. They are still higher than the lows hit in the fall as Omicron tore through the country and some businesses temporarily laid off workers. Well, tomorrow is the monthly jobs report, and it could be a rough one. One estimate says as many as 400,000 jobs were lost in the U.S. in January. The good news, analysts say the job market should quickly bounce back. Well, Merck saw almost $1 billion in sales of its COVID antiviral pill. Merck says it will take that money and reinvest it to make some more drugs for COVID and other illnesses. However, the FDA did reject Merck's filing for approval of a drug that would treat chronic cough. And Wendy's is expanding its breakfast menu for the first time since launching it nearly 2 years ago. Beginning February 8th, the chain is adding a hot honey chicken biscuit as a fried chicken cutlet that's drizzled with hot honey sauce and infused with pepper and served on a buttermilk biscuit for $3.19. From New York, I'm Jane King with your business update.
The FCC has issued a new proposal that could make it harder for robocallers to leave you those ringless voicemails in your inbox. Those are the annoying messages that show up in your inbox and your phone never even rings. The proposal would require robocallers to get your permission before they can leave you any messages. That would be nice. Last year, the FCC started requiring all phone providers to implement a verification service to help consumers identify robocalls. We're going to take you to Seymour when we come back. Our reporter David Mattingly is there right now. We're going to see what Indiana drivers are dealing with. You can see they're getting a lot more snow there. Also, what investigators know so far about this house fire that happened in Louisville where one person was rescued.
Yeah, it's that good Fairnose pizza. Good taste, happy face, your place, my place. What's gonna make you happy? It's the smile I see on your face. It's that good, yes it is, and we deliver it. Oh, 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 taste is fun, yes it is, we guarantee it. Yeah, it's that good, Fairnose pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
A live look at downtown Louisville right now. You can see that temp there, 32 degrees. So we'll see what that is going to do to the roads in the metro in just a little bit. We thank you so much for staying with us today on this alert day. Tomorrow's an alert day, too. I'm Shannon Kogan. We're going to get right now to Chief Meteorologist Kevin Harned for the very latest, as you've been following all of the models here, Kevin.
Yeah, we really are in a nowcasting mode where we're using the radar and all of the reports that so many of you are sending in, as well as all of the instruments airports we have across the area. So it's sort of go time for the weather team, and we've got people not only here at the station, but our team is out and about too. You can see the freezing rain and sleet falling at the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport. Temperatures there right at 32 degrees, that critical number. We really start to see the freezing rain accumulate once we drop below 32. The ice storm warning is still in place across the area until 7 a.m. Now, the transition has been slow in some instances. That temperature drop last night happened fast, but then we held around that 32 to 35 degree range for quite some time. And we're already starting to see that budge just a bit in the metro. Some places are down to 31 and a half or 31 degrees while the airport sits at 32. I mean, even that minor of a temperature difference is critical between seeing the rain and the freezing rain. And that's what we're noting across the Louisville area now. And the transition is working its way farther to the south. It's taking some time. If you're thinking, this isn't a big deal, it's a cold rain, I'm going to go out and do what I need to do, keep in mind, things are still going to deteriorate. Will we see the amount of ice as we first thought maybe yesterday? Maybe not quite as much, but not too far different. Again, southern Indiana, snow to sleet, freezing rain, and a cold rain off to our south. How much of each will we get? Enough to impact the roads. We're going to see some problems on area roads through tonight and into the early hours tomorrow. Shannon, I'll show you the maps on how much coming up in just a few.
All right, well, in Indiana, they are getting that snow, as you just showed us. And reporter David Mattingly is joining us right now. He is in Seymour. Ooh, and it looks very windy, too, David.
That's right, Shannon. Let me see if I could release the string here on my glove. It gives you an idea. This wind has been relentless, and it's just one of the many layers that this storm is bringing here. I'm sorry, my face is freezing up because it's so cold. What we are seeing here, it started with freezing rain last night, so people woke up to the trees and everything covered with ice, as well as patches of ice on the road. Since then, it has been nonstop sleeting today. A lot of this white stuff you see on the ground, that's all ice. That is sleet that has been coming down all day. The snow is now starting to mix in with that. We're going to have inches of snow on top of this. But take a look at the road conditions. We have some video that we shot earlier today as we were on the road. We put the camera just outside the passenger side window so you could see what people are driving in here. It doesn't look that bad, but the conditions have gotten a lot worse since then. In fact, we've talked to some truck drivers who've been talking about getting off the road.
They're pretty icy out there.
A lot of sleet falling right now. What does that do to you?
It just makes visibility a little bit harder. It freezes a lot faster to the roads, and just kind of drive at your own pace and stay safe.
Now, with all that snow that's blowing in right now, you can see it's just coming in horizontal. Blowing snow is going to be a problem here later. It's been a problem in some other counties, and we're keeping close tabs with emergency management officials as they watch what develops here. So this storm not done with us here by a long shot. Reporting live in Seymour, David Mattingly, Wave News.
All right, David, I hope you stay warm. So that's the situation currently in Seymour. Let's take a look and see how things were there this morning. Reporter Felicia Ashley was there and brings us this report.
We have seen a significant change since we were first out here at 5 a.m. At first, hours ago, this was completely clear. All it was wet from the rain, and we knew it would become sleet, and we knew it would become snow and layers of snow. Well, now that is where exactly it is. If you scrape, you can see inches of sleet has collected on the roadways, and this will only harden. This will only become worse because as the temperatures continue to decrease, it is going to get more solid. I want to show you the groves in the road because this is what I'm nervous about with some drivers, because once this gets iced over and solid, this is the type of groves when you're driving, it will cause your wheel to adjust, and you need to hold your steering wheel tightly so that you can maintain control. Now, we keep talking to you about the ice all week long. We keep telling you it is coming, and now it is officially here. I'm going to show you this fire hydrant. If you get close to it, completely iced over. It is thick, inches of ice on here already. If you look at this grass, completely ice over to the point where it snaps off. The ice is what we keep warning everyone about, because sometimes you can't see the ice until it is too late and you are physically on top of it. So when you're driving, you need to be extremely cautious right now. In Seymour, what we're noticing, a lot of sleet, as you can continue to see, and it's that hard sleet that you're feeling where it hits your face and you can actually feel the thickness of it. If you listen quietly, you can hear it actually bouncing off of my jacket as well. So when you're out, make sure you're safe, make sure you're driving slowly, drive for yourself and drive for everyone else around you as well. Of course, you have you covered with all the weather conditions throughout the weekend and including the rest of this week as well. For now, reporting in Seymour, Felicia Ashley, Wave News.
All right, we're also following some house fires that happened in Louisville today. 2 of them. For first one in Okolona. This is on Cinderella Lane. This is very close to the Gene Snyder Freeway. Crews responded to this a little before 8 a.m. We know everybody inside the home was able to get out safely, and the fire is still being investigated. And here's video from the scene of the other fire that happened across town about an hour later. This house is on Howard Street in the Parkland neighborhood. A lot of smoke coming from this home. Firefighters say one person was in the house. They got that person out, and it took about 10 minutes to get the flames under control. The fire crews say that the person did not have any injuries. They're trying to figure out how this fire started. A second man is now facing charges for murder in Bullitt County after being shot himself. LMPD responded to a shooting yesterday morning on Southside Drive. They found Bradley Simmons with a gunshot wound. He was taken to a hospital. He's expected to survive. Simmons was wanted in connection to the shooting death of Kevin Watts. That happened in January. He's now facing murder and robbery charges. Another man, Richard Reno Jr., was arrested Monday for Watts's murder. He is also facing charges. Another shooting in the Watterson Expressway. Shively police say a man was shot on I-264 East near the Cane Run Road exit about 6 o'clock yesterday evening. Emergency crews found a man in his early 20s. He'd been shot in the leg. He was taken to the hospital. He is expected to survive. Police say they're looking for the shooter, and any information should be given to Shively police. One man is looking at jail time after leading Indiana State Police on a high-speed chase. This was in Clark County Tuesday. 32-year-old Bobby Shepard Jr. is charged with resisting law enforcement and reckless driving. Police say he took off on State Road 62 near Charlestown after they tried to pull him over. Troopers say Shepard reached speeds of more than 100 miles per hour before then crashing. He's now in the Clark County Jail. COVID numbers are on the decline across the state of Kentucky. Good news, newly reported cases just over 7,400 yesterday. Also 21 new deaths, pushing the state's total to nearly 13,000 since the pandemic started almost 2 years ago. But the positivity rate continues to go down. It's now at about 26.7%. Coming up on Wave, the story of a dog sliding into hearts all across the country. That is adorable. And a kid's homemade hidden novel becomes a huge hit, and a fishing group's prank war heats up. That's coming up, and take a look at this.
Well, the alert day continues. The ice storm warning is underway. Freezing rain and sleet across the metro. Snow to our north, where you saw David Mattingly, up towards Seymour. How much will we get of each type? We're going to do our best to revise and give you an update when we come back.
Oh, I just love this story. Look at this dog. Doesn't it look like he's smiling? That is Benny, an 8-year-old rescue lab with a special talent for ice skating. Amazing. Yesterday, he took his custom skates out for a twirl in New York. He was also raising money for the Animal Vision Foundation. He was rescued on his last day at a kill shelter in Utah. His owner says he loves to run out on the ice, chase after her, and look at how good he is on those skates. Now he does it whenever he wants for a good cause. Benny has also won the American Kennel Club Exemplary Companion Award for his ability to put smiles on people's faces. What a good dog. A second grader hides his handwritten novel in a library, and what do you know it becomes a runaway hit with readers. Jeremy Roth has today's Take a Look at This.
Libraries are a place for kids to open their minds to a world of imagination and discovery. This small library in Boise, Idaho, was the scene of the discovery of a budding young author whose homemade and hidden book became a runaway hit. Unbeknownst to employees and his parents, second grader Dylan Helbig snuck his handmade novel, The Adventure of Dylan Helbig's Christmas, onto a library shelf and left it there. Later, after he'd fessed up to the covert bookshelf shenanigans, he returned to the library to find the book missing. Turns out, employees had found the 88-page novel and liked it so much, they made it an official selection in the graphic novels section and thanked Dylan with an award for Best Young Novelist. Creativity, both crafty and cruel, was on display in an ongoing rivalry between Minnesota fishing buddies. The group had made a tradition of talking trash to their friend Troy, whose cumulative catch count on their annual fishing trips was less than stellar. Feeling cornered, Troy brought in a Hollywood ringer to return fire.
You guys really think you're going to beat Troy on your ice fishing trip this year?
Yes, that is Shooter McGavin himself, Happy Gilmore actor Christopher McDonald. With shots fired, Troy's buddy David V brought out the big guns, renting out a roadside billboard with a ruthless response, and on the weekend of a major local fishing tournament, no less. V says it's all in good fun, and said even Troy appreciated the strategy.
He's a fine fisherman, right? I won't tell him that to his face, but he's a fine fisherman.
For Take a Look at This, I'm Jeremy Roth.
Boy, those guys are serious, right? Coming up, yes, it is an alert day today and tomorrow. A live look right here at the airport. A lot of flights have been canceled. We're going to get the very latest on what you can expect over the next couple of days. All right, just a quick update. We're just getting this in from JCPS. Kids, there's a snow day for tomorrow due to anticipated power outages. There's going to be no NTI, so it's just an old-fashioned snow day. So the kids can relax. Parents will have to find something for them to do to try to keep them busy. Now we have this. President Biden was in New York City today amid a recent spike in gun violence in the city and nationwide. NBC national correspondent Gabe Gutierrez spoke with the city's new mayor, Eric Adams, ahead of his meeting with the president.
New numbers this week show the nation's most populated city battling a brutal crime wave. The NYPD's latest data shows crime is up 38% overall in New York City this year, with shootings up 32%, transit crime up 70%, and car thefts jumping a staggering 93%. In January, 25 police officers were shot nationwide, 5 in New York City alone, including 2 fatally.
I love you, baby bro. And I will always miss you.
One of them, Officer Wilbert Mora, was laid to rest Wednesday. He was killed alongside his partner, Officer Jason Rivera, while responding to a domestic violence call.
An ocean of officers shouldn't have lined streets for the second time in 5 days to mourn the appalling loss of a 27-year-old son and brother.
Mayor Eric Adams, a former police captain, pledging to make public safety his top priority. He's putting a major focus on stopping the flow of illegal guns into the city.
We will not surrender our city to the violent few.
It's a goal, the mayor says, he shares with President Biden, who arrives in New York today, as just 24% of Americans say they're satisfied with the nation's policies to reduce or control crime. The Biden administration balancing the urgent need to address the growing violence with progressive calls for an overhaul of the nation's police departments.
Does defunding the police work?
No, it does not, and it's the wrong bumper sticker.
In an interview with NBC Nightly News, Mayor Adams says there's a way to do both. His administration is rolling out new steps to combat gun violence, including using facial recognition technology to identify suspects and deploying more cops on the streets.
I have too many police officers that are doing clerical duties. If you're inside, I need to know why you're inside. If you're not, I need you to put on that bulletproof vest and do the job that New York has hired you for, to protect us against violent people.
All right, back to the coverage of the ice storm 2022. We just got some numbers from MetroSafe regarding the number of incidents that happened on the road from this morning until just about 2:30 or so. So there were 7 injury accidents, 7 non-injury, and reports of 2 wires down. So that's going to be changing, though, here as the temperatures plummet.
Yeah, we're going to see really that transition continue to the next phase, and that'll be more sleet and then eventually more snow, and then it's out of here by late tonight, early tomorrow morning. You can see from the Louisville Muhammad Ali International Airport, we still have precipitation falling, generally in the form of freezing rain and sleet, some rain mixed in, so it's that dreaded wintry mix that we call it. You'll notice through Friday morning, we've got the rain to sleet to snow. Slick road's going to be the main threat. There will be a few scattered power outages. You heard Shannon mentioned there are already 2 wires down, so we'll see a few of those, but less and less concern for the major power outages and more concern for just slick sidewalks and roads. Snow accumulations are going to be higher to our north. I'm going to show you those maps coming up in just a second. In fact, let's take a look at the radar view. I'll bring it out. Here in Louisville, we still have that mix going on from freezing rain to the south to a little more sleet to the north. The sleet's in the purple. The blue color to our north is snow. David Mattingly's been in Seymour. We've seen the images coming out of that area of just some snow and sleet mixing in, covering on the ground. Roads are already slick and hazardous there. To our south, it's a cold rain, starting to see some areas with freezing rain. If your temperature in your car says 31, 30 degrees, you're seeing freezing rain, even though it may be splatting on the windshield. Anything that's below freezing, like a tree limb or a branch or a power line, those are likely seeing that ice accretion. All right, let's talk about the winter storm. We do have the ice storm warning that covers most of our viewing area. The northern 2 counties, Jennings and Jackson County, under the winter storm warning. Again, precipitation will continue right through the evening. Going to keep it at 100%, 90%, 80% through 7 o'clock. That is the sleet and freezing rain for us in Louisville. Then we'll transition to a period of snow later on tonight. As that happens, we'll see a light accumulation. Again, some areas to our north around Seymour could wind up with 4 to 6 inches of snow. Let's talk ice first. We see the lighter colors. That's up to 1/10 of an inch in the lighter color pink, both across the northern viewing area and our southern viewing area. As we get closer to the Ohio River, it's between 1/10 and 1/4 inch of ice, including the downtown area of Louisville because of the heat island here. Areas along the river and down toward the parkways in that deeper color pink, that's between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of ice. Snow going to be much higher to the north. We're already seeing snow fall across parts of our viewing area that way, and we've already had several inches of snow on the ground up around Indianapolis and points farther to the north. Looking outside, obviously we have the precipitation that's falling. That transition will continue as it moves to the south. Tonight and into the early morning hours on Friday, some light snow showers. It's not going to melt anytime soon. High temperatures tomorrow stay below freezing. Let's get you outside. Here's the view from the SkyTrack camera. Notice it bouncing just a bit. The wind, it's gusty. Temperatures in the metro generally running in the low 30s. Here in the city, we're right at 32 at the airport, 32 in Jeff. 1 degree makes all the difference. It's all it takes to see the rain to the freezing rain. To our north, we do have temperatures in the 20s, cold enough to support freezing rain, sleet, and snow. Areas to our south are still above freezing, and consequently, you're seeing just plain rain. That's the story on the radar. Where in Louisville, we said it was sort of mixed. Areas to the north, starting to see the snow move in. That colder air is moving, but it's moving slow. The transition's going to take some more time, stretching all the way from the deep Texas all the way into the northeast. So a pretty large winter storm for us continuing underway. Again, when you look at those totals, up to 1/2 inch in places along and south of the river to the parkways. Snow totals higher to our north, 1 to 2 inches across the Louisville area. Roads will become increasingly difficult to travel across the entire region, and there could be some power outages. Can't rule that out. The index is scattered at this point. When we look at temperatures, tonight we're going to drop down to 22. Tomorrow's high stays below freezing at 30 degrees. We'll be back in the 40s, but look at that low. That'll be the coldest of the season so far by early Saturday. We'll take a quick break. We've got more Wave News when we come back.
It's that good, fair nose pizza. Good taste, happy face, your place, my place. What's gonna make you happy? It's the smile I see on your face. It's that good, yes it is, and we deliver it. Oh, oh, oh. Taste is fun, yes it is, we guarantee it. Yeah, it's that good, fair nose pizza. Yeah, it's that good.
Well, I hope you're at home, having a good day, staying off the roads. Again, JCP has just called a snow day for tomorrow. We're going to update you on the conditions all around the area when Wave 3 News at 4 is coming up next.